I made it. I'm finally here. It's frickin' 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Registration for the conference is open until 9, and the event, for some reason, isn't until like 7:30, 8 o'clock. It is not until 8 o'clock. I'm going over there at 7:30. Clearly too tired to think or process, but also at the same time now officially wide awake. I've officially been up for so long that, like, I'm overtired to the point where I'm not tired anymore. So, huzzah for that. Also, Atlanta's, like, really busy, right? And there is construction on the building kitty corner to this hotel. So, I'm gonna turn up King of Queens and, yeah, try to sleep. Yay! I just woke up, obviously, but I still look so tired, and I still feel so tired. Honestly, my original, like, impulse, there we go, words, was to just go back to bed and start the convention tomorrow. But I haven't eaten since like 6 o'clock this morning. So my body's like, hey, you're hungry. Sorry, the TV's on. I'm putting the phone here so I can see. So I stopped looking at it. I took a shower before I went to sleep. I want to take another one again for some reason. I don't know why. I just don't feel the best. Obviously, probably because I'm super tired and really hungry, but I don't want to go explore the city because I'm tired, hungry. But I have to go explore the city to find food to eat. And if I'm out and about in the city anyway, I might as well, go to the convention. There we go. Yeah, words. Okay. See, I need more sleep.
Mine is your team. Book Bros, right? Book Bros, 20 points for Book Bros.
Look at it! So the internet for the whole hotel is down, and I just happened to be the guest who found that out. And I called, like the actual service line, help desk line, troubleshooting line, because they thought it was just my room. And now they're having, like, then I was the one who pointed it out. Hey, my internet's not working. And she's like, oh, we'll fix that, no problem. And then she's like, oh, okay, there's no internet at your whole hotel. And I was like, oh, great. So they're now fixing that and have been for a couple hours, which is why I said I'm probably just gonna end up watching something on my phone. Okay, so speaking of the Wi-Fi, that was the Wi-Fi help desk lady, and she's not able to even connect to the front desk, so I'm gonna walk down to the front desk and let them know that they need to reset their modem and to call help desk if they need any extra help if it's still not working. Alright, I'll be back. Holy cow, you can see how tired I am. I'm so tired. Like, I look like I've been punched in both of my eyeballs. I can promise you I have not. I'm perfectly fine. Just sleep deprived. So I woke up like 7-ish a.m. Tuesday. It's 12:30 a.m. Thursday. That's some hours that my brain can't mathematically work out. Look at how much this, by the way, if anybody wonders, like, even though I lose weight, why this never goes away, it's because I'm on a steroid for my lungs. I have the worst lungs. I cannot breathe. I'm on 2 inhaled steroids for my lungs, and then I have an emergency inhaler. Like,
As well as almost finished with my master's degree in persuasive rhetoric. My focus is cult rhetoric that is present in school systems and organized religion systems. And I am also starting a nonprofit organization because there is a large argument about whether or not you can change the system from within the system. My paper today is about the K through 12 system and some very important changes I think that could be made to the system that there's zero research on. Since its origins in the Industrial Revolution, our modern school system has seen both much and little evolution. As the years passed, programs developed to keep up with the technology, laws, and new ideas in teaching. However, very little has changed in the way of how the school system treats the students. Students are filed through a mechanical sorting secretary who cares only for the date that you were manufactured. Based on this date, you are housed in your appropriate storage facility until you meet factory standard conditions to move on to the next storage facility. Eventually, you become a product of society, and hopefully your facility supplied you well with the manuals to navigate life. Dr. Peter Gray, a research professor in psychology at Boston College, uses a similar example when describing children in our education system. He compares the school to a factory with an assembly line, and the children the product being produced. He says that at each stop on the line, a teacher, whom he refers to as a factory worker, adds a bit of new information before the student is shunted on down the line to the next portion of their assembly. Students have largely become nothing more than a number in the very system designed to help them become self-sufficient and empowered individuals. We see this in the STEM-biased standardized testing, leading the ranks in how we evaluate a student's worth, in programs like No Child Left Behind, but mostly in the segregation of our children by age. Programs like No Child Left Behind may have had good intentions, but quickly became a tool of a system that segregates children in a way that some, like Dr. Gray, feel is most harmful to their social and self-education development. Segregation of school children by age is a system that developed largely out of the need for a more educated laborer in the time of industrial expansion and growth. New, more sophisticated machines required a more capable worker. In addition to the rising complication of the machines was the rising danger in working with them. In addition to the number of unemployed adults, led to the movement barring children from the workplace until they were a suitable age and had undergone the legally required amount of years of schooling. These children were then shuffled into a system developed to train them to be productive members of society, learning the things that the government believed to be most valuable to a young man who would later enter the workforce. As Dr. Gray points out, however, children are complete human beings in their own right, who constantly demand to control their own lives, and who, despite what we put them through, insist on learning what they want to learn and practicing the skills they want to practice. As our society develops, we have started to see people for their individualism, especially here in America, rather than for what eventual role they might fill in society. We're starting to support the drive to follow the career course one is truly passionate about, because we've seen in practice that that makes for the most dedicated and successful members of that profession. We have started speaking about mental health and the need to understand one's feelings, urges, and possible disabilities. However, we still have yet to extend this view of individualism to the very system we use to educate people we wish to encourage to be individuals. There are many forms of learners. A simple Google search on the topic will pull up hundreds of different studies on the many types of learners and how no one can agree on exactly how many there are, just that each individual seems to learn differently. When searching for information on the segregation of school children by age, though, one is hard-pressed to find any information on the topic at all. Aside from a majority of historical papers on the creation of our system, there was almost nothing addressing the problem that the segregation of school children by age really poses. Why is this issue that stunts student learner growth, inhibits critical thinking, problem solving, imagination, multi-age socialization, perpetuates cultural bias issues, and superiority not being replaced? Is it simply because a system that would educate based on a student's understanding level, rather than on what is believed the student should know at a particular age, would be more expensive a system to operate? It is possible to find several schools who have combined close grade levels of larger classes to allow 2 teachers to a classroom. Schools like Albemarle County Public Schools in Virginia have seen a number of positive outcomes from the integration of several grades, though they were forced to do this due to low staffing. Students who are farther back in material feel less pressured and are able to go to peers for help, not just the teachers. This eliminates a lot of the classroom stigma associated with answering a question incorrectly, as well as the student feels supported by their peers, rather than stigmatized for not being on their level. In addition to the students benefiting from a range of materials offered to them, the teachers have also benefited from having a partner in teaching in the classroom. They're able to personalize lesson plans more towards individual types of learners, and each teacher is able to take a group that emphasizes their own teaching skills. This has brought up levels of student participation and understanding while lowering levels of both student and teacher anxiety. Besides these few schools who are experimenting with multi-age classrooms, there's very little in the way of classroom placement by capability actually being practiced in a school system worldwide. It seems an unnatural phenomenon that so many countries educate their children in a similarly structured system and then tend to see the same issues in the same areas. Children in Asian countries find themselves with rigorous STEM curricula and frequently standardized tested. They are educated to believe that these tests will determine the rest of their lives, and depending on the country, they may. In Japan, for example, your scores in middle school determine the junior high school that you will be attending, and you are required to get into a decent junior high school and get good scores at that school if you wish to get into a good high school and then again on to college. These scores are highly referenced and listed when you apply for a job as a fully grown adult in Japan. Due to these high pressure testing requirements, the depression and teen suicide rate is quite high. In March of 2020, the Japan Times announced that those suicide rates were at an all-time low. Youth suicides of those under 20 years of age, were continuing to rise and at an all-time high. China shares issues that align with their similarly STEM rigorous curricula. Many students who respond better to art, music, physical activity, or personal instruction are falling behind in a system that benefits only one style of learner. The age stigma plays a higher role in these schools as well, with the older students frequently being led to believe that they are of a higher class or status than the younger students and abusing such misbelief. There is frequent bullying of younger students in the means of hazing, servitude, and sheer size discrimination. If children were separated into classes by academic ability, they would find themselves on equal footing with students of many different ages, sizes, genders, etc. It would naturally help them to understand and develop the viewpoint that no one person is better or worse than another. We all succeed in some things and do not do so well in others. This is just one of the many benefits that's believed to come from the ending of age segregation in our school systems. There are believed to be many more benefits that have yet to be fully researched because no one seems to be talking about it. Benefits like increased confidence, active learning engagement, student learning acceleration, lower feelings of anxiety, depression, or even a general dislike of learning, and so on. Why a system that organizes students into subjects by their capability is not being explored in depth is a question worth asking. We should eliminate a system that tells students that they should, what they should be and at what age they should be it, and replace it with a system that encourages natural, lifelong enjoyment of learning. We should have a system that doesn't tell children who say they want to be an astronaut that they need to think more practically, but a system that has an astronaut write the curriculum for a child who expresses that interest. We shouldn't put the child who wishes to be a writer in the course written by an astronaut for the child that wishes to be an astronaut. We should put that child in a course written by a writer. We should end age segregation of students by age and begin letting students' natural abilities and interests guide their education, as it will need to once they've graduated from the mandatory system.